Good evening, this is Kuro. Got a tier 8 game in my tier 7 New Orleans. Going over the matchmaking, we've got an Implacable, Ranger, Bismarck, Nelson, Bayern, Cleveland, Edinburgh, Hipper, Fiji, Asashio, Kiev, and a Jervis rounding out the enemy ships. The map is Hotspot, 3-cap domination. We spawn over at north of A. And just going to give you kind of a rundown on playing these mid-tier US cruisers, especially the ones that don't have radar. And one of the things that I think people run into with these ships is it doesn't play like a Des Moines. It doesn't play like any of the radar cruisers where you actually need to worry about getting your radar over the cap, anything like that. These ships are a lot more mobile than the later radar ships. And I just want to I picked this game. I basically only got a chance to play 2 New Orleans games today. And this one I felt was the most relevant as far as how the ship actually plays. Now, if you notice, I am pushing up aggressively. It's a double CV game. I'm trying to take a route that I can angle if battleships try to shoot at me, and that the entire enemy team back here isn't going to be able to shoot at me. I want to get into this island, and getting into the island does a couple things. I can actually pop my fighter and begin to spot things back in here for the rest of my team. And in the meantime, it's got relatively floaty arcs for as far as cruisers go. It's perfect for shooting over islands. But my main purpose of pushing up here is to support my destroyers with anti-air. Now the Gajamada makes a good play here, dropping smoke right here. And rather than follow him into cap, I'm just actually going to turn out a little bit here and just try to use this ledge. Can't see it right now. Right here, to basically shoot over. And if you notice, I don't want to angle, perfectly broadside to these guys. I actually want to reverse and even angle at, away from this Bayern. Angle away from, if somebody's pushing here on the flank, I've got an Amagi that's watching my back. If something pops up there, I can just drive straight away. This is, how you position yourself in the smoke. It'd be very difficult for me to eat torpedoes or anything like that. And I'm just sitting here. I'm working on focusing my AA. Gonna try to shoot targets of opportunity. And just be patient right now. I see the Kiev pushing up. The Amagi has turned in, and that's telling me that the Amagi is no longer going to give me any early warning on the 1 and 2 line. So that's my driving factor of this is why I'm not going to sit there and try to hold that position. I want to avoid the situation where something like this Nelson can just derp around this island and overmatch me. The Kiev creeps out around the island, spots me, And, you know, I'm right there to chunk them back. And, yeah, that was AP. AP still does pretty reasonable damage. I get caught a little broadside to this Fiji right here, and he gets a good volley in right there. I've got AP back at him, and the threat of that's basically going to force him to angle and reduce his DPM down to his front guns. Again, focusing on trying to protect my cruiser, or my destroyers. Actually, he was striking me. Waiting to see if that Fiji's gonna turn. I think he's just gonna turn broadside there to go around the island, so I'm just going ahead, snap off the shot, and didn't turn in, so the shot went high. Got some overpens. Now the issue that I'm having here is my Gaja is he's trying to stubbornly hold on to this cap, and it's just not going to work. I mean, the team is pulling out, and he needs to be aware of that. And what's happened is he's not radared, but a hipper has pushed into the cap, and he's being hydro spotted by the hipper. And I see what's going on here, and I'm trying to line up a shot to try to help him out. But the hipper smartly just turns into the island and runs aground. So I'm going to just switch to HE and see if I can help him that way. But I think my Gaja's probably dead. If he's not dead, he's definitely out of the fight. And at this point, I see the Nelson pop up, and that's going to dictate me moving forward and moving away from this Nelson. One of the things that you got to realize with U.S. cruisers, your position often is dictated by where the enemy battleships are. So if you look, they've got a battleship here in the middle of the map. They've got a battleship here and battleship here. So kind of the safest place for me is right here. If I can, you know, finagle myself in a position where I can't be detected down here, I can just use this island to shell this Nelson. And that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. I get a fire, take a little bit longer lead to try to hit a forward portion of his ship to light it on fire. And I mean, the thing to notice about this cruiser is you have really tight dispersion on the guns. You got 2 fires on the Nelson. He's blown his damage control. And I'm just going to slam on the brakes. Again, you know, I'm in a good position here. You look at the enemy battleships. The Bayern was sunk. The Bismarck's, you know, behind this island, can't shoot at me, and the Nelson's pushing up. He's overextended. That's telling me free farm. And again, you know, using my AA, helping my team out. Get a good volley there, double fire. Both of those are unrepairable. Aiming more for the stern of the ship. And again, just that tight grouping of shells. You know, there's 3 fires right there. He's going to burn a while. Just going to keep pounding this guy because Nelson does have that super heal. And dive bombers just hammers them, and my fire finishes them off. Now, take a look at how I'm using these islands here. I've been using these islands basically as cover, and I just gonna pause it here. I'm trying to use them as like just temporary positions as I just kind of flow along the battle. I see where the enemy's going, And I'm just kind of adjusting my position based on the threats to my ship, and just trying to keep my guns, in the fight. If possible, I'm near friendly ships using my AA. I mean, at this point, I'm already out of fighter aircraft. That's how aggressive I've been popping, my fighter planes, uh, for the additional vision. They can spot ships that even my team can't shoot, but it gives us, an idea of where these guys are located. Um, and that's very handy information. So, you know, just with this new meta, don't assume that, fighter plane is completely useless. And in this case, this ship, I would honestly prefer spotter plane. It would be a lot better for shooting over islands, stuff like that. You could actually look down over the top of islands, and it would be really strong. Unfortunately, they only give you a spotter plane, but that spotter plane, you can still do a lot of spotting for your team when you're using these island positions. Uh, and what I'm doing, I'm just taking a look at the topography, and I'm looking at angles that I can shoot that nobody can really shoot me, or that it makes it a really difficult shot for them to shoot back at me. If you look, I'm still angled. Um, I'm still fluctuating my speed. I'm still trying to be a difficult target. I am spotted right now. Um, so that's telling me, you know, it's most likely the Kiev spotting me. But, that gives you an idea, you know, where ships are located. Um, and at this point, I'm just going to push out just a little bit. I'm trying to get shots into these cruisers. Um, I know the Bismarck's there. I don't want to go way out there and, run into the Bismarck. So I'm just trying to keep the island between me and the Bismarck. The Kiev's kited behind the island, so he can't spot me. They're down to just plain spotting. Um, so I'm looking. I'm trying to see if that Fiji's gonna start trying to take a shot at me or shoot at somebody. This Hippers, didn't expect him to reverse like that. He was reversing pretty quick there. But now if you look at my position, yes, I'm in open water. Um, but if you look, this Bismarck, he's going behind an island. Um, there's not a lot of stuff that can really hurt me if I get spotted here. But you look at my positioning, 1.1 kilometer from this New Mexico, 1.1 from the Scharnhorst. Again, 2.6 seconds. I've got defensive fire available again. Um, and I'm in a solid position to deny strikes against or help deny the enemy CVs striking at these two battleships. Um, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead, pop defensive fire, try to help shoot down some of these torpedo bombers. And I'm just going to make a little push right in here to try to start applying pressure on ACAP. I've got a kid that's getting ready to push into ACAP. I see a Fiji sitting in the cap. I know the kid, that's a big threat to the kid. So, try to focus down that Fiji.
Our victory is in sight. Anti-aircraft gun
And, I mean, U.S. Cruiser AP, learn it, love it. It is, honestly, I think it's some of the best ammo in the game. It's just that good. And again, I'm just using my maneuverability, just cruising up here. Want to get a little bit closer. I know that this game's pretty much won. So trying to get some additional damage. I see the Bismarck shooting. So just throwing some HE out there on the Bismarck. But what I want to do, I see the Fiji pushing up. I want to get, AP shots into this guy. And unfortunately, the kid is able to finish him off before my shells do. Now I see the Hipper pushing the kid. I'm assuming that the Hipper's running Hydro right now. So I'm pushing up to try to get a shot on the Hipper if he's trying to push our kid. And this is the general play style. You're a support cruiser. You're not on the front line. You're just that sneaky guy that, reaches out from behind the bar with a club and you just bash somebody that's misbehaving over the head. And you're not looking to tank damage or anything like that. You're just looking to dish it out. Um, and while you're dishing it out, you're using all the things that you're useful for. Either your radar, if you've got planes, popping your planes to provide the team vision over islands. Using your AA is huge. Being close to your destroyers, giving them AA, punishing enemy DDs when they pop up. This is not a high damage game. But I thought this was a really good representation of just a lot of good things that U.S. cruisers do, and how just humping an island, that's not really how you do it. I mean, there is some use of island cover, but you saw how I didn't just sit in one position and just try to shoot. I was constantly adjusting my position depending on threats to my ship. Try to avoid being pinched out by two battleships, avoiding crossfire, and just constantly trying to keep my guns going as best I can. And the way you add damage up in this game is, over time. You look to live longer and just constantly chip away at ships, and pretty soon, I mean, the damage just starts racking up. I mean, 49 HE shells, yeah, I did have a little bit of good fire RNG, but, you know, these ships only get more and more disgusting the further up the line you go. I mean, you get the Buffalo with 12, 12 guns. Um, it's absolutely disgusting just being able to just sneak up to a cruiser and just blast their broadside with that super heavy AP. It's just, ugh. It's that ship can be borderline overpowered with its guns. It's that bad. And I mean, Des Moines needs no introduction. It's been a staple for the competitive community for ages. Um, Amazingly versatile cruiser. Um, and those ships, you're going to be doing the same thing. I mean, you do have radar on those boats, so you are acting more as a gatekeeper for the caps, being able to provide that radar vision when enemy DDs smoke up, that kind of thing. Um, but don't get married to one spot. You want to be able to move and flex around the map as you need to do. Um, and above all, the big rules, you know, watch the enemy battleships and adjust your position based on their position, and always keep your guns going. If you're doing that, you've got 75% of U.S. cruisers down. You know, the finer details, when to use radar, that kind of thing, it makes up the other 25%. Um, but those are the big nuts and bolts of how to US Cruiser. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will talk to you guys later. Leave any comments below if you got any questions. Hope you're having a good night.